welcome back. It's another day. How are you doing, guys? Today we are into Adobe Premiere. So we're going to edit a video in Adobe Premiere. So without wasting your time, let's get started. So guys, go ahead and fire up your Adobe Premiere. You can see mine is opening right now. And then you are greeted with a window which says, welcome to Premiere Pro. What you're looking at here, these are actually some of the projects that I've been working on. Go to new project. This is where you're going to start your project. But guys, I advise you that in the first place, you need to organize your video clips, okay? Organize your clips. Make sure you have all the files that you want to edit in a specific folder, all right? So I'll have to give it a name. How to edit a video in Adobe Premiere. Episode 1. Okay, so what do you do next? You're going to browse, select a location where you want to save your projects. Just like I said, organization is key. You need to be able to organize. It's very important. I go to this folder, 24 projects, and then I created this folder, tutorials, and then there's also another folder that I created, Adobe Premiere. Okay, so where am I going to be saving my projects? I'm going to be saving my projects in a folder that I already created named project files. Okay, so you have these files because I already started working on some projects. That's why you already have these files. What next? You click OK. All right, so yeah, this is where we are now. This is where maybe you might have different panels. Maybe yours might be different, but you know, Adobe Premiere is a versatile software. So you are able to customize how you want your panels to look like. So maybe your panels might be different from mine because you just installed the software. It's new to you, just fire it up. But for me, I have been using this software, so I customized it to my liking. You can also do the same. I think in time, as we keep going, as we keep learning, you're going to know how to actually customize your workspaces. So I just want to walk you through Adobe Premiere, like where do we import your projects? How do you start editing? What tools do you use to start editing? All right. So if you can see here, we have this panel. This panel, it's a project panel. It's a project files panel. Okay. This is where you import your media. And then you have this panel. This is a timeline. Actually, this is where all the magic is done. You can see here, you can read drop media here to create sequence. Okay, this is where you do all the mixing, all the audio. You know, if you want to fix audio, if you want to cut out, if you want to add, you know, this is where all the magic is done. The editing thing is done in here. So it's called a timeline. Okay, so we have this, as you can see, it's written program. It's actually a program monitor. So what you are working on, the videos that you are editing, you use the monitor to see your progress. And then you have source. This is also another panel where maybe before you import your project into your timeline to start the sequence, you can actually preview it before you import it into your timeline. Whilst you are in this where your project files are, you can double click your file and then it shows in your source. So when it shows in your source, you can actually select in point and out point. This is actually a section where you want to drag into your timeline to start the actual editing. Okay, so you can drag your file direct from the project file folder into your timeline, or you can double click it, select a part that you want to edit, and then you drag it and drop it into your timeline, and then you start the actual editing. Another thing that you need to understand about Adobe Premiere are the tools. So for you to actually start editing, you use tools just like any mechanic. he needs to have tools. So the tools are, these are the things that you use. If you want to cut, you use the tools. What tool? You use laser tool. If you want to select a file, you use a selection tool. There is a selection tool. You use a selection tool, and then you move your file. Or you use a selection tool to drag your file. So in Adobe Premiere, you'll be using mostly, you'll be using, I think these 2 tools, or even 3. There are many tools. You can be using all of these. But mostly the ones that I use most, there are 3 tools. I have the move tool. There is a razor tool, which I use to cut. And then we have a type tool. If I want to work on text, if I want to add text and animate text, I'll have to use the type tool. So let's get started. In the first place, you need to import your media. Just like I said, I assume right now that you already have your media organized. I am going to double click inside my project file folder. So once I double click, it opens File Explorer for me to locate where my files are. You select it and then you click open. So it imports into your project files folder. So you can see this is my file. Or maybe this time around, let me show you another way to import a file. I can right click. When you right click inside your project file folder, you actually see import. From here now, you need to drag your media into your timeline. You can drag without leaving it, and then you drop it into your timeline. Okay, so you can see my file is in timeline. What you can see now, the program monitor has been activated. Okay, because just like I said, a program monitor shows you what you are working on. So from here, what are we going to do? From here, I'm going to start the actual editing. I want to remove the parts that I don't want, and I'll leave the parts that I want. Okay, how am I going to do this? I'll use tools. I'll use laser tools to cut. I'll use move to select. I'll use selection tool to move my file. Okay. The other thing that you guys need to know is that this video that I've imported in here, you can see that it has shown there's like some 2 lines here. So the above is the video. The one which is below is the audio or the video. What you need to know, you use the space bar on your keyboard to play and also to stop. So if I hit my spacebar button. Hey, what's up guys? How are you doing? My name is Precious ID. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be teaching you guys how you understand that most of you want to venture into TikTok. I mean, of course you're on TikTok, but then you don't know how. You can see that my video is actually playing. You want to have videos for Instagram, you want to have videos for Facebook, but you just... Okay, so let's start editing. How are we going to do this? If you can see what I'm doing, I'm zooming. Okay, I am zooming in and zooming out. I think this is also something that you'll be using a lot. You'll be zooming in, you'll be zooming out, zooming in, zooming out. So you can use the plus sign on your keyboard to zoom in. Is this zooming in or zooming out? To zoom in. Or you can use the minus sign to zoom out. You can see how my file is looking. So I'll zoom in, and then I'll select my selection tool, and then I'll drag my playhead to the starting of the, the initial start of the video. If I play, hey, what's up guys? How are you doing? My name is Precious ID. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be teaching you guys how to edit a video in Adobe Premiere. I do understand that most of you want to venture into TikTok. I mean, of course you're on TikTok, but then you don't know how to edit a video. You don't know how to edit a video. Okay, so let's just do some editing. You don't know how to edit a video. I've repeated it, so I don't want to repeat. So I can cut the other part. So how am I going to do that? I have tools here. So if you can see, if I can select this you can see it shows that it's a laser tool. So I can select a laser tool and then I'll click where I want to cut. Okay, you need to make sure that your playhead is actually the exact place that you want to cut. Okay, it also acts as a selection tool. So you go where you want to cut and then you click your mouse, you left click to cut. You can see I have splitted my video into two. If I can take my selection tool, I'll select and then I'll select the other part. I can move it here. You can see that we actually made a cut. I did the cut here and I want to remove this section. So I'll go to the to actually where I want also to remove. I'll select my laser tool, or shortcut I can select C on my keyboard to select a cut, a laser tool actually, and then you select where you also want to cut. Okay, so this is a selection that I want to remove. And then another tip, you need to select where I want to work on. Okay, like for me, I want to remove this part, so I need to make sure that it's selected, because you might cut where you don't want to cut. Okay, so I'll select V, select the part that you want to delete, and then you can select backspace to delete it, or delete to delete it. Okay, or you can right click your file and then press clear. Those are different ways that you can delete. There is also another way. You can right click and then select report delete. So actually what report delete does, it deletes even the space. So there are different ways, just like I said, to delete a file. Number one, you can select your backspace to delete it. Number two, you can actually press delete on your keyboard to delete it. Number three, you can right click and select clear to delete it, or you can actually right click and do report delete. Report delete is deletes the space as well. I like using report delete because I don't want to, to have a space and then I'll be dragging the file again to mix it. I don't want to do that. I want you to do it automatically when I press report delete. Let's say you have imported all the files, you have done all the cuttings, and then you want to save your video. How do you save your video for it to be able to play on your phones or even on social media platforms? What you need to do, you need to select your file. You can actually hit Control A to select, or Command A if you're using Mac, and then you go to File. You go down and find where there is Export. Okay, you go to Export and then you go to Media. You select Media and then another window pops up. On Format, you need to make sure that you have selected H264. H264, guys, it's actually MP4. Okay, it's MP4 format. You might be maybe looking here, where's MP4? I can't find MP4. No, MP4 it's H264. So select H264 and then you go to preset. You select high bitrate. You can select medium bitrate. So medium bitrate actually tells you that it's a lower resolution. Or you can scroll down and select Facebook 720 HD or Facebook 1080 Full HD. All these ones, they come with different file sizes. It's just the quality of the video, how big the file is. Okay, but I recommend that you leave it at high bitrate or medium bitrate. Okay, so you can see if I select high bitrate and go down here, it says estimated file size is 96 MB. All right, but if I select medium bitrate, you can see that the file size has actually scaled down up to 29 megabytes. So let me just leave to 29 megabytes, and then but if you want to export a high quality video, so I do recommend you select high bitrate, and then output name, you select it and give it your name. I'll give it my name, how to edit a video in Adobe Premiere. Okay, so you can actually select where you want to save. So I'll select my tutorials folder, and then I'll open Premiere, and then I created a folder named output, because this is where I want to be finding all my exports projects. So I'll select output and then select save. Okay, so when you select save, you go down here, you make sure you check this use maximum render quality, and then you hit export.